Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share with you how I would learn English if I could start over. I made a few mistakes in the past, like focusing on wrong accent or wasting my time on unnecessary grammar. But now I've got a foolproof plan to share with you. Let's dive in! First things first, guys. I would choose a specific accent from the very beginning. In school, I was forced to learn British English, which later on in life I didn't find so useful as American variety of English. So I can say that I wasted so much time on learning British English instead of American one, which in my opinion, and I think it's just a fact, that it's most commonly used worldwide, right? And I simply like it more. I like the sound and I like the American expression. Of course, guys, please, no offense, British English is also fine and any other variety of any language is fine. It's just my opinion. In my opinion, American English is just better and more useful. So choose the accent that you find the best and most useful in your life. You know, I was simply so confused during so many years, like, is this British word or American? Or is this British pronunciation or American? And sometimes, until today, I'm still confused, like, maybe I'm using the wrong word. Make sure that you stick to the one accent since the very beginning. And if it's too late, because most probably it is, no worries. Just try to focus right now on, for example, American TV shows instead of British TV shows. Sometimes I reject TV shows that are not from USA just because I don't want to confuse myself, just because I want to learn English that I have chosen. So it doesn't matter if you choose British, American, Australian, or some other variety of English. The most important thing is that you stick to it. And I think we need to remember that we don't have to sound like native speakers, exactly like them. You can just sound like you because you are you and nobody else, right? But my point is that we should stick to one variety, just not to confuse ourselves and people around us in reality. For example, right now the elevator on the corridor was making so much noise and I wanted to call the service to tell them that, hey, the elevator is broken. But in this case, I'm using all the time the word elevator and I'm really aware of it. I'm not using the word lift, which is British, I guess. So we, as non-native English speakers, need to just be aware all the time of the variation of words that we use and the pronunciation that we use. For example, I really try to be aware of the R in the end of the word. Yes, so instead of saying car, which is more British, I guess, sorry if I mispronounce it, I try to say car, which is more American. So at first, guys, I would put my focus on the specific accent, but unfortunately it's too late, but it's fine. It's like this. Sometimes I'm still confused, but I try to be positive and think that, okay, I just know more and that's it. Next point, number 2, practice, 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 and one more time, practice. Instead of getting bogged down in grammar rules, I would focus on practice. Unfortunately, guys, during so many years when I was at school, I was focused just on grammar and technical aspect of language, and I wasn't practicing at all because it was the approach in Poland especially that we were learning just from the textbook and we weren't practicing like anything. I really wish I had spoken more since the very beginning, but unfortunately I cannot turn back time and it is as it is. But as far as I understood this, everything has changed. I would immerse myself in English-speaking environment and make conversations my main focus. So as I did with Spanish, guys, I have never opened any textbook in Spanish and now I speak Spanish fluently. And what's more, I achieved full fluency in Spanish in less than 7 months, guys. Let me tell you how I did it. I'm gonna go a little personal, but I do believe that this story can inspire you to take massive action and start practicing the language you are learning just right now. So first of all, I was watching Spanish TV shows. So it was input that I was putting in my head, but I wasn't producing anything. I wasn't practicing. I was just watching. And well, it was 4 or 3 years ago that I opened Tinder and I started looking for Latino guys that I can date and practice my Spanish. Guys, I'm gonna talk Turkey, which means I'm gonna just be direct and honest. At first, it was very challenging to communicate with them because Spanish was a language that I didn't have any idea about, okay? So yes, it was difficult, it was tough, and it was very confusing because, of course, they were native speakers and sometimes they were looking at me like this, like, pero, ¿qué quieres decir? And I was like, pues, no sé. But with the passage of the time, I was improving, and I was improving drastically. In a short period of time, I started speaking Spanish fluently. And yes, it's true that after some months, I moved to Spain. I traveled to Spain, and then spontaneously, I decided to stay there and move all my life to Spain. That's why I achieved fluency so fast. But the secret is that I was fully immersed in this language. I wasn't focused on grammar. I wasn't focused if I say something correctly and perfectly. No, my main focus was communication. That's why, guys, practice is the key, is the secret to your success. You need to overcome your fear. You need to boost your confidence and go out there, put yourself out there and start practicing. The best idea is to find some speaking partners. It doesn't have to be Tinder, okay? There are so many apps that help you find a speaking partner. You don't have to move to this country, you don't have to move to USA suddenly. You just need to find a speaking partner. What else I do until today, I talk to myself. And I think in the languages that I want to learn. For example, I often find myself thinking in English, which is not my native language, obviously. My native language is Polish. So I usually think in English and in Spanish. I don't know why I don't think in Polish anymore, because my boyfriend is Spanish. No, it's a different guy, not the guy from Tinder. My boyfriend is Spanish and I met him in Spain. He was a huge part of my Spanish journey because obviously I speak Spanish with him all the time. We don't speak any other language. So yes, that was very important. But what I want to tell you is that you find a speaking partner. Or even if you struggle to find a speaking partner, even if you are shy, that's completely fine. Just speak to yourself and try to think in this language. And nice tip for shy people. Guys, there is an app, I cannot tell you the name here because it's not sponsored, this video, but I promoted it on my TikTok. You can find it there. That you can talk to AI. Yes, if you are shy, if you are really scared of talking to people at the beginning of your English journey or any other language journey, you can just talk to an AI, to an app. Yes, so go to my TikTok and find it there. It smoothly leads me to my next point. It's not a secret anymore that one of the best ways to pick up a language quickly is to immerse yourself in the culture. You already know my Spanish story, so let me tell you how I practice my American English and how I immerse myself in American culture. So this one thing I wish I had done in the past and I do now is watching the iconic TV shows. But they have to be iconic to make sure that you pick up the right accent and the right sounds of the language that you want to learn. For example, recently I have watched these iconic TV shows, these American TV shows. For example, Manifest, Salvation, what else? Ginny and Georgia. They have amazing, beautiful American accent. These TV shows help me catch up on the latest slang and the fast and connected speech. And I usually observe really carefully what structures they use, what grammar they use, and what's most important, what slang words they use. And obviously I try to mimic them, so I use shadowing technique. I was talking about shadowing technique many times in my other videos. There is also one video specially dedicated to shadowing technique, so make sure you watch it after this one. So let me tell you briefly, let me just remind that shadowing technique is nothing else but repeating after native speakers, repeating and mimicking them. For example, my favorite character says a specific sentence, and I just repeat, and I try to mimic the emotions, the gestures, just to sound like her or him. So let me share with you something absolutely exciting. To achieve fluency, we need to connect input, something that we put in our head, and output, something that we produce. In other words, we need to practice what we have heard. So as I mentioned just a second ago, when I hear my favorite character speaking, then I'm repeating after her, which is the practice part. In this way, I learn English in an active, not passive way. And if you want to learn English in an active, not passive way, join my speaking club. My speaking club is a safe space where you can practice your speaking skills with people from all around the world. I lead engaging conversations, thanks to which you can break the ice and start speaking real English. There you overcome the fear of speaking, you boost your confidence, and you forget about being stuck when you want to express yourself in English. Just to let you know that spots are limited, make sure that you book yours, and we will be starting on August 8th, so there is still a little bit of time to join. The link is in the description, and meanwhile, let's go back to the video. So next thing I would change, if only I could, is learning the whole phrases, not separate words. This way I could use them naturally in a conversation without struggling with prepositions, which are these short words like in, on, at, this kind of stuff, which cause a lot of trouble. Let me give you a basic example. Instead of learning how to say hello or goodbye in English, I would learn right away the whole phrases. For example, nice to meet you or take care. It makes the whole experience of learning a language easier and more natural, right? And for you, it's more pleasant to learn it this way, because after that, you don't find yourself struggling. Oh my God, how I can use that word in a sentence? Actually, I know the word, I know the meaning, but I don't know how to use it. So it was me actually in the past. I was struggling so much. I knew so many words, but I didn't know how to use them because I made this mistake. I didn't learn the whole phrases at first. And one more significant conclusion, in Spanish I didn't have this problem, because I learned the whole phrases since the very beginning. I didn't learn some separate words. I was just listening to these TV shows, to native speakers, I was talking to them, and I was observing the whole phrases that they were producing. Yes, that's why in Spanish I didn't have this problem, but in English, yes, I did. And it was sometimes I still struggle how to use a specific word in a context. I'll learn on my mistakes and learn the whole phrases instead of separate words. But Veronica, how? How can I learn the whole phrases? How can I do it naturally and without struggling? Well, I'm gonna show you how to do it in my speaking club. The next mistake I wish I hadn't made is learning general vocabulary. You don't need to know all of the words in English. Try to focus on specific vocabulary about your hobbies, about your life, something that you need to use daily, something that is about your niche. For example, if you are a businessman, if you are a businesswoman, try to focus on business English. You don't need to know all of the animals in English or all of the colors or all of the name of the plants. You don't need them. You just need business English and business, polite, elegant vocabulary, formal English, right? If you are a psychologist, you don't need to know business English. You need to know the vocabulary connected to emotions and self-development, everything that is connected to trauma, the vocabulary for your niche. When we were kids, we didn't have a choice. We needed to learn what the textbook said. But right now, in adult life or in teenager life, you don't need to learn all of these, right? You need to learn something that is useful for you. Because learning every single word from the dictionary can be pretty overwhelming, right? And what's more important, it can be very discouraging. Try to put your focus on the vocabulary relevant to your life, to your work, to your passions and hobbies. The next thing I wish I had done is reading out loud. Reading out loud is such an underrated practice. It helps with pronunciation, fluency, and in general in building confidence in reality, because you can read out loud when you are alone in your room without anyone judging you, without anyone even hearing you. You can be just in your comfort zone practicing your perfect pronunciation. You can even read one sentence 10 times if you need, right? So this is a perfect practice and I wish I could have done it more when I was younger. So if I were you, I would make sure to add some reading sessions in your daily learning routine. For example, if you read a book, you can just read some part out loud. You don't have to read the whole book, right? Because it can be pretty tiring. But just some part would be nice. If you don't read books because you don't like it, no problem. You can read something that you see on social media. Last but absolutely not least, I don't know why I put it in the end of this video, because it's very important, guys, so make sure that you stick till the end. Anyways, real life over textbooks. Don't get me wrong, please, textbooks can be pretty helpful. However, they don't fully represent real life English. You don't really find slang words in textbooks or some abbreviations used on internet. Yes, you find grammar rules, some nice vocabulary, formal vocabulary, which is of course useful. However, it doesn't represent the full experience of learning real life English. So in general, I prefer real life sources such as podcasts, articles, videos to expose me to authentic language, not this technical and formal language only. So guys, there you have it, my ultimate approach to learning English if I could start over. I hope tips from this video can help you in your language journey. If you have more ideas, if you think that I made some mistakes, if I could add something, please feel free to share all of your ideas and thoughts in the comments. I would be more than happy to read them. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!